Hello and welcome to the Old Man Orange Podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan, and today we have a very special guest returning.
That's right. It's Brandon Krum from the Arnold fans, or Arnold Radio News podcast. I really appreciate you guys having me on.
I like how you hold out like there's a studio audience.
It's fantastic to be here. It's nice to see you.
Very fitting. Very fitting.
I'm trying to get them in there, but
it's perfect. It's perfect for this because we decided that we're like, you know what we got to do? Well, Brandon at first, I'm like, dude, Brandon likes Batman just as much as us, so we got to have him on and talk about Batman because that's like literally like 50% of what our podcast is happens to be Batman. So I was flipping through all our old episodes and I was just looking at how many episodes just had Batman in the title or something Justice League like, and it was like, holy crap, there's so many of them.
Oh my God. Well, that's awesome. And that's why your podcast is one of the greatest, you know.
Oh, you're too kind.
Hey,
you gotta like Batman.
And you have to like Batman too. So, you know, that's why we're here, to talk about Batman.
I know, and I asked, whatever the last podcast we did together, I asked Brandon, I'm like, dude, we gotta come on, you gotta talk all about Batman, we'll talk a movie. And Brandon's like, dude, let's talk Mask of the Phantasm. I'm like,
let's do it.
We did that a year ago or so, I mean, not saying I couldn't do it again, but, you know, it's like, let's kind of do that. And they were like, well, what other Batman movie to talk about? And they're like, oh, well, let's do Batman, Mr. Freeze, and Subzero, because that's a really cool movie that kind of is like a hidden gem.
It is, actually, yeah. And it's actually rated higher than Mask of the Phantasm on Rotten Tomatoes. Not that you should necessarily listen to Rotten Tomatoes, but it's on there rated higher somehow. You know?
Yeah.
You wanted more, and it's here. Batman and Mr. Freeze, Subzero. Deep within the frozen Arctic, Nora! The love of Victor Freeze was shattered.
There aren't any deceased donors that match. Then we'll have to use a live donor.
Hi, Dad. Sorry I'm late.
Hang on. An all-new feature-length adventure. Batman animation beyond anything you've seen before.
Let me go!
I want my daughter found.
Don't worry, sir. We're on it.
Brace yourself. If I'm not back in time, go without me.
What? Wait!
Look out!
Ah!
Subzero. From Warner Brothers Family Entertainment. Own it. Only on video.
So yeah, that movie actually has a higher rating than like almost all of their Batman movies. They said it was only outbeat by Red Hood.
Yeah, and the weird thing about it is because this was just like a little like straight to video movie that was meant to be somewhat of a loose tie-in to not really narratively, but just in advertising, a loose tie-in to Batman and Robin because Mr. Freeze was in it. But it's kind of weird when you think about like how like when I'm not gonna be somebody who's just like kicking down Batman and Robin because it's been done 1,000 times. But and that movie has its charm, and I think a lot of people don't give that movie credit for some of the things it does do. But it's one of those things though where how serious this movie takes it, and they just like they have the plot point which is like, well, he invested in this drug that was not approved by the
FDA.
FDA, yeah, thank you. By the FDA, it's just like I don't even think that's something they even would say in like one of the Tim Burton or Schumacher movies. So sometimes the loose tie-in thing. Or like it's kind of weird how like the animated series almost takes itself so much more seriously than nearly all of the live action movies before Chris Nolan.
Yeah, and even more serious than I'd say even Chris Nolan does, strangely enough.
Some aspect, I'd say some aspects I think so, yeah.
You know what's the weird thing though is this movie though was actually intended to be a theatrical release and was going to come out the same year as Batman and Robin in '97. But like when they didn't get very good reviews on Batman and Robin, they pushed it back a year and made it a straight to video one.
Wow, that's kind of sad, you know, when you think about it. That would have been great for me to see it in theaters because I loved Mask of the Phantasm. You know, and that was an actual theatrical release, which is fantastic. So now you can say, you know, what's your favorite theatrical Batman? You can still squeeze Kevin Conroy in there.
Yep, you can. It's definitely true.
Yeah. So that makes me happy that he got in there. because he's my personal favorite Batman than Michael Keaton, and that's a whole podcast right there. Who's your favorite Batman? But Kevin Conroy for me was, is Batman. I have a little. You guys maybe can't see it yet, but autograph. I got his autograph here. I'll show you later, but a Batarang from the Arkhamverse signed and all that.
Oh my God, that's cool.
Kind of
Over on
great.
This direction, if I'm pointing, I got a Kevin Conroy like signed picture over on my wall over there too.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
yeah,
he was so cool
great
to meet
at the Comic-Con. Yeah, he's this really cool guy.
Well, I got a Batman action figure that's drawn by Bruce Timm that has no autograph on it, but if it did talk, it would have the voice of Kevin Conroy. So
yes, that's great too.
Yeah,
that's a gem right there.
I remember the day Spencer actually got the autograph from Kevin Conroy. I was just having a really horrible, shitty day at work, and he says, "Hey man, want to come to this Comic-Con?" Like, I can't make it, but yeah, maybe next time. And all of a sudden he sends me this text of him and like Kevin Conroy just arm around, like, this dude. And I'm just like, right. And like next time we talk, I'm just like, how's your new best friend Kevin Conroy? Did you get him to do the podcast with you? Why even fucking have me on here anymore? So bitter and disgruntled about it.
It'd be funny if throughout the day I just kept sending you pictures of me and Kevin Conroy. It's like, hey, here's us at lunch. Here's us roller skating in the park. And then here's us in the hot tub together. Oh boy, we're having such a good time.
You guys doing like the Lady and the Tramp spaghetti thing?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, look, Kevin wrote your name in his pasta.
Oh my God, that's just crazy.
But no, like Batman Subzero though, it is just like this really cool hidden movie. And me and Ryan were trying to think about this. I'm like, I don't know if you could if you know this, Brandon, but this movie's got the original animated series style and not version 2. And I'm almost thinking by just looking at the year, do you think this movie was pretty much like the last of that style? You know what I mean? Like, it would have been like the changing point.
Yeah, because even the next animated movie, which was the Mystery of the Batwoman or whatever it is.
Well, there's that one's much later on, but yeah, there is that one.
Yeah. What came after the Joker one, right?
Yeah, the Batman Beyond Return of Joker.
Yeah, that's right. So you're right, though. Yeah, this is probably the last. I think it was in terms of like continuity. It was like it continues the story from, I guess, a couple of the last of the original style of the animated series. It kind of continues that storyline and finishes them up. Because I think she just becomes Batgirl or something in the show, and Victor Freeze's wife, maybe, I don't know if something wakes up or something. I'm not sure exactly, but.
And then Dick Grayson's not Nightwing yet, so it's like it's right at that cusping point.
Yeah, and there are a couple, I think maybe for the first time. I'm not 100% if it's the first time where that Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon were a thing. Mm-hmm. I guess they were kind of flirting with it in the show.
Isn't this the first time they actually showed Barbara as Batgirl? Like, this is the very first time she was presented as that. Then they went forward from the to the redesign and the New Adventures of Batman.
I want to say she's Batgirl in season 3.
Kind of taken me a minute. It might be, maybe I'm wrong there. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a while since I watched the whole animated series, and usually I rewatched like season 1 like a year ago, but I gotta go back and watch the whole thing. So.
Yeah, but it's so beautiful, the whole show, and even this movie is still. I prefer that animation style, to be honest. So for me, it's great to see that, and the whole. It's a 67-minute movie.
Yeah, so it's not that long.
No, it's not like a crazy long movie, but it's it is fun to see. It's an interesting way to get everybody all together, because I guess Mr. Freeze. I don't know if you talked the story. If everybody should know the story by now, I'm not sure.
Spoilers.
We're talking spoilers, right? Yeah. So he kidnaps Batgirl, right? Because she has like the right kind of blood DNA or the same blood type as Nora. Isn't that right? So
yeah, it's the rare blood type.
Exactly, that whole thing. I wish they'd almost kind of done this tragic Mr. Freeze. I mean, they kind of did it in the movies, but with Arnold Schwarzenegger. But if they had just taken it a little more seriously, I think it would have been great. But I don't know. Some parts of that, the live action version were great too, because it's almost like a comic book come to life in a way. But I don't know. It's from a certain era anyway.
Well, what
But,
I like about
but yeah,
Arnold, though, is he does do both the seriousness and the comedicness. Like, his Mr. Freeze has both of it in there.
He does.
You know, so...
Yeah.
So you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. And I think what I also like is that the Mr. Freeze is kind of like from that German descent. Because I think his original portrayal in like the Adam West Batman was by a German actor. So it's fun to see Arnold kind of come back and continue that tradition. You know,
and I think that was the whole reason with casting Arnold, is that because what they were making at the end of the day, you know, Batman and Robin is supposed to be a Batman 66 show. That's kind of what they were going for.
Yeah, it kind of is. Yeah, I could totally see that.
So, and it makes sense to have Arnold in there for that kind of character. And I don't care, no matter what. So, like, I love Batman and Robin. Like, I actually think it's a pretty faithful Batman movie. I mean, yeah, it's having fun with itself, like Batman 66. But I still think it gets a lot of things right in there. I like George Clooney as Batman. I don't care what people say. You know what I mean? And both Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze are two of my favorite Batman villains. So, it's kind of hard for me not to like that movie. I mean, the only thing that I could kind of slightly complain about is I'm like, you know, Bane could be not retarded. He looks great. He looks fucking awesome. He looks better.
He does look great, but his personality is totally off. It's like,
yeah, that's about the only thing.
I was just surprised to see Bane in there.
Yeah, but at the same time,
I guess,
that's almost shocking enough because, you know, Bane was like, what? He's not even like 10 years old by that point as a character, so that's still pretty ballsy at the same time.
That's true. It's very true.
I'll say that you guys know who they were considering originally before Arnold, right?
I can't remember. I remember it from the special features, but I forgot.
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart. I always get Robert Patrick.
Dude, Robert Patrick, though, I would have taken Robert Patrick as well, too.
Yeah, no. Yes, that would have been fun to see. I'll be honest.
Just Robert Patrick going around like, have you seen this wife?
Or just like going around like, or I could just see. I didn't even. It took me a second. I was just nodding my head like, oh yeah. It took me like, but I was like, oh shit, that's the other side of the fence there. Okay.
Yeah.
See, Robert Patrick, I think, would actually be pretty good. You know, shave his head and everything. He's got the look and everything. He could be kind of menacing looking. Because normally Mr. Freeze is kind of a skinny guy anyways.
Yeah, that's true.
It's all that cryotherapy he's got going on the whole time, just burning off that body fat.
That's true. That's very true. So, hey, maybe I'll start a trend where he'll finally play that character that nobody even thought of him for.
Yeah, why not?
All started here.
Yeah, exactly. Here. We're the ones that recommended him. I like how in the beginning of this movie, though, like, Mr. Freeze is like, finally, peace and solitude. I have my 2 bears, and we live up in the Arctic, and I captured a boy, and he takes care of me.
Swimming in the ocean and stuff. And
he's just like swimming, like, having a good time. And then all of a sudden, just like the military's like, where are we at, boss? I don't know. Raise the ship, raise the flags, let's go up. And just like crashes into Mr. Freeze's house. And he's like, no, Nora!
America!
Yeah,
they
just mess everything up.
It's like, God, they just go in there and just totally like destroy his like livelihood. See, you would never have problems with Mr. Freeze if he was just like left alone up there and keeping Nora in cryostasis, and it's all good until somebody decides to ramrod their fucking submarine into his house.
They do a good job of portraying him as like a nice, kind guy at that first 5 minutes of the movie. Because even when he goes with a kid, he hands a kid like, here's some fish, cut that shit. And then moves in, and he's just still like checking in on Nora, still trying to find a cure. So they make him a pretty likable guy for the most part. Because before it was just one of those things like, he probably was a good guy at one point, but now he is what he is.
Yeah.
And this, for a while, it's just like, oh no, he's not that bad, and then just shows him being desperate as the movie goes on. Still not making it right, but just showing him he's that desperate. He doesn't care by this point because there's no time left.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true, and that's what's so great about the character itself is that it's sort of a tragic character, and that's what's so great about this movie is that it portrays it just right. You know, kind of like the episode, what is it, Cold Heart or something?
Heart of Ice.
Heart of Ice, that's what it is. Yeah, I think that episode and this are some of the greatest, Mr. Freeze moments, besides all of Arnold's stuff, of course.
Yeah.
But
you know what? I was thinking, though, it's like, okay, you know how, like, Mr. Freeze has the little Eskimo boy? That's almost like one of those ones, like, why doesn't he, like, that seems like the perfect, like, almost like, henchmen that Mr. Freeze could have in the future is just have a bunch of Eskimo people, because he's always got those guys like, boss, it's fucking cold in here, I don't like it. You know, there's always like those guys standing around like, why doesn't he just get a bunch of Eskimo guys? Like, they'd be all fine with it being cold. They're like, yeah, whatever. It's just like home.
Yeah, they're just totally used to it.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
I mean, nowadays they probably go, oh, that's racist. This white man comes and enslaves all these Eskimos. The dude is, but he's like,
making him sing like old timey like Christmas claymation movies.
come on, sing,
come on.
I'm Mr. Winter, I'm Mr. Snow.
I hate when they talk to in the movie.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, it's like I just thought about that. I'm like, dude, that's like the perfect kind of henchman for, you know, Mr. Freeze to have. And it's like it's sort of like introduced in here, I guess. Hench boy, get over here.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know. Do you think that the Subzero movie had enough Bruce Wayne, or do you think? I mean, Bruce Wayne wasn't in it far too much, was he? I think.
No, I kind of like how they focus on they almost focus more on Batgirl for a while, and then almost even Dick Grayson. That's like, and I like that because it's like Batman almost takes a back seat. I mean, he's still there enough that it's not like you're gonna be like, oh, where's Batman at? Or Bruce Wayne even. You know, because he has the moments, you know, like they go to the party or whatever, and then when him and Alfred are driving home, they're like, oh, well, it's flooded out here. It's, you know, it hasn't been raining at all. You know, and they find the car upside down, and he starts going on the case of looking for this guy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like that. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, you go.
I was gonna say I do like that how it does, like, because the animated series itself, like Bruce Wayne would always be a part of it, but it would almost be like Batman first and foremost, Bruce Wayne secondly, because that is where I think they realized that it's mostly at the time, even though it translates really well, it still really holds up. I think they realized kids are watching, kids want to watch Batman, so most of the time, make sure he's in the outfit, and it just so happens the writing just so happens to be just as good as any movie out there too. So.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. You know, you had a few episodes that are a little funny, but for the most part, you know, it was such a great. I mean, for the most part, it was one of the best shows ever made.
Oh yeah, I think so by far.
Definitely.
I think it's definitely that. You know what's kind of interesting too is in this movie, in the Batman Subzero one, it's like I think this is like the first time they ever really used CG in a Batman animated thing, because there's this like, you know, there's the beginning part where the polar bears are swimming around and it's got CG like fish and CG icebergs and so on going by, but then there's other parts too in it. You know, the submarine, I think CG, and then which, you know, now you kind of look back and you can like see, you can spot instantaneously like, yep, CG, whatever, looks, you know, but you know at the time that would have been kind of mind blowing. You know, you would have been like, oh yeah, CG, dude, that's future.
Whoa.
They actually did have
production.
They actually did have the scene, like just one scene in like the actually two scenes, opening and closing, Batman Mask of the Phantasm, as it goes through the CG buildings, like
that's
the
right,
orchestra score. But beyond that, though, I think you're right as far as part of the actual story, because that was just opening and closing credits, I think. As far as the actual story goes, I think you're right. This is the first one to actually use CG in that way. And plus, even like, I want to say, it looks like there's some parts they're even rotoscoped, or maybe they were CG, because there's a part when they're getting off the oil tanker at the end, and you could see the way their characters are moving while they're getting onto the Batwing. They look like they may have been rotoscoped right there.
Well, they probably were for certain things like that. They also used the CG in like the car chase scene where like Dick Grayson's like going after Mr. Freeze to get Barbara back, and he's on the motorcycle, and he literally has like that kind of line. He's like, "Here, man, take my Corvette." And then it's like, and then there's like the one poor black guy who's out working the streets at like midnight as a cop. It's like, great, gonna chase down Mr. Freeze again. I thought these days were over. We get too old for this shit.
3 days from retirement.
Exactly. It's like, good thing I got my CG car to help me get there. And it's kind of weird because it's like, I mean, I know that like CG makes, you know, drawing cars is always a tough one, especially cars turning and so on like that. And it's kind of one of those ones like you almost never see a cartoon anymore actually have drawn cars. Everything's CG. You know, you watch like Archer or something like that. They just use full-on CG cars. You watch all kinds of shows. It's like the cars are always CG. Even in a lot of animes, they're CG. And it's like ones like in this one, it's like you can see the start of it, But it's like, remember the good old days when people used to draw cars? It's probably like the most pain in the ass thing to draw. Drawing a car turning is probably like one of the hardest things, just as far as like just regular animation goes. You know, because you got it's not like a human turning. It's like it's got to be perfect the whole way around. It's not an organic object.
I remember reading in some credits somewhere, just seeing something like mechanical artist or something like that. Just the idea of like, most of the regular artists can't even do that. We got to get a mechanical artist in here to draw all the machines and all that kind of shit.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, I get the CG use, like, why you would do it. I mean, hell, I would probably do it myself. If you know what I mean? It's just like, at the end of the day, it's like, I'm going to have a car. It's like, I guess get a CG, you know? So, but it's interesting just seeing, like, this movie kind of like a start. Like, they're like, hey, let's try it out. It's almost like an experimental movie because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
I will say this movie, how many kids shows incorporate a plot line about organ harvesting?
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, that's why it's
probably
PG.
Very few. Yeah, it is, isn't it? I have the DVD box right here.
Ooh,
so I
you
legit
got
own
the
it.
regular one too. Like I have the mixed one where it's got Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh yeah, this is the
with it.
singular. I bought it by itself. That's how much.
Does it have the flippy fold Warner Brothers like case where you can like has a little plastic thing that
catch?
Yeah, look at
Yep.
this. thing.
Oh shit, it does.
Oh,
One of those. Yep.
You got the original. Is yours in widescreen or
Yeah.
full screen?
It's standard. Oh no.
Okay. That might have been how
I
it
think
was made
it's
though,
changed.
so I'm not too sure.
Yeah, that's possible. That's very true.
I just know that my version, like both of them are standard, so it's like, well, I know Mask of the Phantasm was made in widescreen, but you know, it's like I didn't know of Subzero.
Yeah, there is some good artwork though. I don't know if you guys can see that, but
That's
kinda
very
cool.
well detailed, Mr. Freeze, but still looks kind of
Yeah.
fits into the Bruce Timm art style to an extent.
yeah, it does. So I don't know. It's a pretty cool. It's you know, even though you know nowadays everything's going towards digital, it is still fun to kind of own physical copies of stuff. You know.
Well, at the end of the day, too, it's like, have you ever noticed, like, because I always get, like, those digital free copies. It's like, I decided, I'm like, you know what? I keep getting these in Blu-rays and stuff. I might as well just start just making this collection. So over, like, the last year or so, I just went through and put all the digital copies and so on. But so many of those digital copies, though, it's like, they're only, like, 2 gigs big. It's like, 2 gigs big? How is this, like, I mean, that's fine if you're watching on your cell phone, maybe your laptop, but if you're going to watch it on a TV, it's like a good DVD is 8 gigs, you know, and a Blu-ray can be 25 to 50 gigs. So 2 gigs, come on. Like, so
Sony is, if it's a Sony movie, it's just like a password to go streaming. So yeah.
No, Sony's a good company because if you register all those movies and you register 5 of them, they give you a free fucking Blu-ray. That's how I got my Fury copy. They sent it to me and everything. Yeah, you just gotta.
I tried watching, like, I won't go into this whole thing, but I tried watching a movie on there, just like, here's our streaming. Just like, oh, I thought I'd get it on my computer actually. Oh, okay, whatever.
Oh, was that the PlayStation Vue?
No, not that. I won't go into it. It's boring. We're here to talk about Batman, but yeah.
Technical difficulties, but no, I kid you not. If you got Sony movies out there, register them because it only takes 5, and you get a free movie of your choice. And they had like a great selection. So
that's pretty cool.
Keep that in mind.
That's pretty cool.
Disney's
Maybe
actually pretty
5
good about
Batman
that too.
Movies. No,
Well, no, you
Sony.
can't get. No, yeah, it's
Dang
Sony. It's Sony. Warner
Spider-Man.
Brothers.
I don't know. You know.
Yeah. You could get Spider-Man. Like they actually had, but I mean, like they had movies that like came out like only like 3 months before. It was like, oh, whoa, like that was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't just giving you like, Sony classics from the '80s, you know, and like the old flippy fold cases. No, they weren't just doing that. They were actually giving you the legitimate full-on Blu-ray.
When I see the Warner Brothers like wooden like cardboard flippy fold case, it just takes me back. Just like
I love this.
That's
I love
a big
those
deal.
cases.
It used to be a big deal. Like, oh my god, look how official it is. It actually has a little thing to snap on to hold it in there. That's how important it is.
There's actually a proof of purchase in the middle. I don't know if you can see
Oh,
that.
damn.
Oh yeah, look at that thing.
Yeah. A, B, C, and D, guys.
You know what's the downfall
They
of
label
flippy
them.
fold cases though? Is like you go to put another DVD in sometimes and it gets caught on the lock part and you're like, oh god damn it, you gotta like sort of like pull it to the side and like put it back in there. It's always a little bit of a fiasco of sometimes getting them back in the shelf. But other than that, they look cool still.
Yeah, they're pretty fun, you know. But it's just crazy how they like you kind of have to stack them all together because they don't quite fit in if you have like I don't know other
too many of them
slick plastic. Oh, the nice shiny plastic ones. So you gotta store them by themselves, depending on how finicky you are.
Yeah, exactly. One of those things. You know what else I thought was kind of funny in this is there's the part where when Batman and Robin are trying to track down to figure out where Mr. Freeze is at and who he's hanging out with and who's this doctor guy. And they go to, like, the stockbroker guy. And, of course, they go to that guy. That poor bastard at, like, the middle of the night. Fucking Batman and Robin are, like, in your bed. Like, where's Mr. Freeze at? Just, like, yelling at your face. It's got to be, like, such a terrifying... that guy didn't go back to bed that night. You know he didn't.
Oh, no.
PTSD.
But there's the part, though, where... like, he gets a phone call, of course, from the doctor, and he's like, oh, yeah, I'm out here, doing a thing. Don't worry. I got this job going. We're going to be making money. All those stock problems are going to be going away. He's like, well, where are you at? Oh, I can't tell you that, or whatever. And, Robin presses the record on the tape thing, and then the second he goes to hang up the phone call, he realizes Batman and Robin's gone, and they took the cassette out of his answering machine. But the expression that guy has on his face, because he kind of like looks down, and it zooms in on the tape, and it kind of goes back to him, just made it look like what else was on that tape. Because he looks like, clearly, that message was not the problem. Like, what else he's like, was on there that he's scared that Batman and Robin are going to be sitting in the Batcave listening to?
Oh, there's going to be probably too long of a list to go on about that. It's like, oh no, they know about my trip to Thailand. Oh no.
And the little boys. There were so many of them. I mean, so many more boys than stocks could buy.
I actually like how they have the audacity. Just they don't really show up. They just kill off that doctor. Like, fuck up. He died on the oil rig, which that's totally fitting. So they make that doctor just such an unlikable prick because
like a sleaze.
At first he's just kind of there in a way of like, look, I'm a little stressed out. I'm a little like, I don't really want to kidnap a girl. Not that I have a big moral problem with it. It's more of just it's illegal. So I don't want to get wrapped up in that shit when I'm already having stock problems. And the fact that I think that's an interesting thing to do for a kids show because, I mean, I know we call it a kids show, but you know what I mean. It's just one of those things. That's what it was marketed towards. But when it gets down to it, it's almost made for like. Actually, you could be like, in your 20s and still watch this and still like. I think I enjoy it more now as an adult than I did as a kid because it was literally. Yeah. He invested in a drug that tanked because it didn't pass all the FDA regulations. So now he's like, oh shit, what the fuck am I gonna do? And then Mr. Freeze comes by saying, hey man, you're gonna work for me, and his goal is pay him with gold.
Yeah, because he found this mine at his Arctic hideout.
And once he actually realizes there's more gold in it, it becomes very much of like a, oh man, okay, I'll do it just so you won't kill me now. No, I'll fucking kill that girl. I got no problem killing this fucking girl. Where is she?
He becomes the bad guy, really, at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And he just, when it explodes and like there's that giant piece of metal, he's like swimming down below the oil tankers, there's fire and everything going off, and that thing just comes out and smashes him. It's just like, yeah, take that.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, he doesn't come back up from that. We don't care either. But I think that's how you make a good kids show, though, is you pretty much make a show for adults, and you just tone it down enough that a kid can watch it. I think that's the best way to make a kids show. It doesn't matter what kind you're making. Hell, you could be making a show for 5-year-olds, and probably if you did it that same way, I don't know, maybe like make Barney just like very serious, and like there's actual real like threats going on. And these kids are like not. But Barney we tone it down enough that it's safe for kids and it's good. They're getting good stock lessons.
Remember, kids, invest in Enron.
Oh my gosh.
But
that'd be crazy.
You know what's another part though? Like speaking of that tanker, because at the very end they got this really cool scene where they're on this like abandoned oil rig, and that's Mr. Freeze's new hideout outside of Gotham and whatnot. But of course that dick guy starts firing his gun at Barbara Gordon like, I don't care. She's like, dude, it's gonna blow up here. He's like, whatever. Stop running, bitch. Yeah. I'm gonna cut you up. I'm gonna get gold from this. And then like of course next fire bursts and all kinds of things like that. But there's a part where like Mr. Freeze is like, he has this real moment. He's like, oh, my leg's broken, and like obviously anybody could have just left Mr. Freeze there. Like, fuck that guy. You know, he's never been more of a hassle than anything else. I mean, he's not really a bad guy, but still, he's still, I mean, like, he caused that, like, 10-car pileup of police officers early on, so he's still not doing any good for us.
Taxpayer dollars right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But, the Batman thing is that, you take the higher stand, and, no, you still help him out. No matter what, at the end of the day, you do that. But then he's like, oh, you gotta go get Nora. You gotta go get Nora. Like, go down to the smoky, death-filled chamber and get her. And all I'm thinking is when Batman and Barbara go down there to get her, Batman picks her up and just starts carrying her, but it's like, wouldn't she be, like, dead from being in all that heat and in the smoke and everything like that? I mean, like, she's been in, like, cryostasis this whole time. I'm pretty sure the exact opposite of that's going to be, like, horrible for her. You know what I mean? Like, think about it.
Yeah. Is there a thing where you need to, like, decompression from the cold? Do you need to be, like, brought up slowly?
Well, there's that, but I just don't think that even her body, like, let's just say, like, let's disinclude that part. Just her body at its moment, if it's exposed to all this heat, like, isn't that just going to make her, like... True. Yeah, like, how is that going to... That's going to make her condition just, like, skyrocket in the wrong direction.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And then I thought they just scienced their way into it. He probably just gave her like, here, this is an extra special dose because she'll be dead in a lot much. So he maybe just amped the dosage up. I don't know. I'm creating excuses for the movie.
You're making it like an Adam West one. Like, wait, good thing I got this in my bat pouch right here.
Yeah, exactly.
Just for anybody who's in cryostasis.
Hey, if Dark Knight Rises can make an Adam West reference, I think this can make an Adam West reference.
That's true.
I also like to... Oops, go ahead, Brandon.
I watched that. I just watched Adam West growing up, so I still have a soft spot for it.
Oh, I love Adam West stuff. Did you watch the last Adam West movie, Batman 66 versus Two-Face? Yeah.
I have not seen that one yet. No, I need to watch that. I saw the first one, but I didn't see this. I didn't see the follow-up. It is pretty good.
Yeah. This
great.
one feels almost like it's kind of like the lost missing episode of Two-Face. Like, that's how they sort of make it.
Oh, that's cool.
And William Shatner does like such a good job.
I saw a trailer for it and it looked really great. And he sounded perfect for it too. It's just like, they're all from the right era together, so
yeah.
It was cool.
No, it's definitely worth going out and getting.
Okay, well, I'm going to pick that up then. Because I had my eye on it. I just didn't watch it. And, I was sad to see when Adam West passed.
I know.
I don't know if we've talked about that in any podcast yet, but that is sad. The Gray Ghost. We're going to tie it into this universe.
Gray Ghost. I'm waiting for them to do like something with like I'm waiting for them to release a Gray Ghost action figure, that new Bruce Timm line they're doing. I'm waiting for them to do. I imagine they're going to do something with Gray Ghost soon because that's like a very like emotional spot for a lot of like old timey Batman fans.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, the Gray Ghost was always great, And now that he's gone, it'd be even more sentimental to have that, just because I don't know. It'd be great if they make that. So they probably will eventually.
For people who don't know the Gray Ghost, animated series, I think it was like season 1, like really early on in season 1, they have this episode where you realize Batman loves watching this old TV show about a guy called the Gray Ghost. You can kind of see like, okay, it's kind of like proto Batman. You hear the voice like, oh shit, that's Adam West. And he plays this character who can't get any work. He's washed up. He's retired. And he's just like, there's a part where he goes to his old apartment and all he has is all this Gray Ghost merchandise. Like, he gets like a message left like, Frank, I'm so sorry, but you didn't get the role because people just see you as the Gray Ghost. He starts crying and throws down like all the merchandise, starts flipping shit over, like crying and yelling. And it's like, this is on Fox Kids right here.
Yeah, right.
This guy is like one day away from a pistol in the mouth, and he is. But no, it's such a good episode. And then he comes in, helps Batman because there's somebody's linking him to like some old episodes of his, and Batman comes in. They team up together, so it's like Batman gets to work with his old idol, and the fact that it's Adam West. I know you guys know this. I was just saying for people who don't.
No, of course. Yeah,
well, yeah, because it's always somebody's first Batman.
Exactly.
So, did you guys play the Arkham games?
I saw the Gray Ghost poster in there. If you go to that one.
Yeah, that was great. That was really cool. to see that. So I mean that all four of the games, I guess, really have Easter eggs, because if you count, the prequel game, there's four of them. But yeah, it's great to hear Kevin Conroy back, and it's great to hear him in this Sub-Zero movie as well. You get to hear a little bit of him as Bruce Wayne and him as Batman. And I always like it when he and Robin have scenes together. I think they always worked really well in that universe. Mm-hmm. What do they call it? The Timverse, or what do they call it?
Yeah, it's kind of like, well, they always say that, but I always feel like, okay, Bruce Timm's there, but there's like six main guys that kind of put that all together, and for some reason, Bruce Timm gets a lot more credit than everybody else at the end. I mean, I know it's his art style. That's kind of why I think it does, but it's like, him and Paul Dini and Alan Burnett.
Alan Burnett. And Trey Romano.
You know what's the interesting thing, though? Is okay, it's like you got Lauren Lester in there too as Robin and everything like that, but this one, Batgirl's not played by Tara Strong. It's played by Mary Kay, what's her name? Mary Kay
Bergman?
Yeah, Bergman, who is the chick that did all the South Park voices on the first 2.5 seasons in the movie before she committed suicide. So that's who that is in this one.
I thought she sounded familiar. I knew it wasn't Tara Strong, but I knew that voice sounded familiar.
Well, it's like when I was watching it, I'm like, I know this isn't Tara Strong, so I was waiting until after the credits. I'm like, why does that name sound familiar? And then I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, that's who it was. It was the lady. And she did every female South Park voice and so on, like in the first 2 seasons. And technically sets
She's only 38, Jesus.
Yeah, and she sets the tone for all the South Park characters. Like, that's how you know them as, because everybody else who came in to do the female voices afterwards, and they had to get multiple people to replace her. Like, she did all of them. And they had they couldn't find anybody who could do every single female voice and South Park again, so they had to get a couple extra people. But that's, I mean, like, that's pretty classic. When at the end of the day, that's like how what Kyle's mom sounds like, and Cartman's mom, and that's mostly what.
Right.
And Stan's girlfriend, what's her name? I mean, it's not Stan's girlfriend anymore, but
Wendy,
yeah, like Wendy and all those people, like, that's all their voices right there. So I think that's kind of cool that she actually does play Barbara Gordon in this one, because that's one's kind of different. Like, every once in a while, it's like, yeah, you got, like, you kind of expect Tara Strong. You just, like, think of her mainly as Batgirl, like, all the time. Like, she's done it many a times. She did Harley Quinn later on, and so on. It's kind of like Kevin Conroy. You just kind of expect Kevin Conroy to be there, but then every once in a while, you get somebody else who it's not Kevin Conroy in a Batman thing. But then at the end of the day, you're like, well, that's still kind of cool. It's good that somebody else gets to kind of do the job, and sometimes other people have interesting takes on it and so on, a little bit different. I mean, Kevin Conroy's one of those ones, like, I will say this. If Kevin Conroy just did everything Batman, like, I don't care. Like, since, 1991 till now, if he did every Batman voice, I would be 100% fine with that. Even the live-action movies. I don't care if you had the actors play it, but if Kevin Conroy came in and dubbed it...
I was gonna say, because they're talking about, because Ben Affleck has a voice masker. What if you just gave him Kevin Conroy's voice whenever he had the suit on?
Oh, that'd be so cool.
That'd be awesome.
Anybody else notice? Maybe I'm wrong here, but I think this is maybe I said that I said when we did the Harley Quinn movie, that seemed like the first one to use licensed music, because they did a cover of "Don't Throw Away Your Love" as well as "Telephone." This one I noticed watching again, it did, not sure if it was a main rendition, it was the usual rendition or a different rendition. They did "Anyone Knows What Love Is." And now, like, oh, wow, is this the first one to actually use licensed music in it?
It might be.
Oh, maybe.
Because when they're at they're at that party, and it's like that, I can't do it. It's the song, in...
You started already, you gotta finish.
I just know the sha-na-na. It's like a really sha-na-na kind of song. It's the song it's the song in that one American Idol episode of Black Mirror. The girl sings, and before she gets that horrible ending that happens. So yeah. For people who watch Black Mirror, know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
15 million merits is the name of the episode. But yeah.
I like how there's a part where, like, Dick Grayson's, like, talking to Barbara. It's like, I think it's at that part after the song there and everything. He's like, hey, he's like, what are you doing? You want this weekend? You want to go up north and go to a jazz festival? Which sounds like the least 90s thing you could possibly do. I mean, I know this is kind of supposed to have an old-timey feel. It's not like, hey, you want to go see that industrial rock concert? I hear they got, Slipknot playing there with Marilyn Manson and Rob Zombie, Pantera, and Sick Puppies.
What if she was like, nah, I like Goldfinger. Oh, you're into ska.
Well, there's a Real Big Fish concert down the street. I don't know. If Real Big Fish was in this movie, that I don't know. That might make my day even more. I know that would feel so out of place, but...
Well, they showed those people at that party. They were at the jazz festival. There was once again that really like very weird kind of fluid animation. You got people doing that like maybe that was rotoscope. Maybe it was
that probably was. Dancing is probably rotoscope. Nobody's gonna just like draw that.
Yeah, well, the way they were dancing, like I could now that you said that, I could totally imagine some Real Big Fish playing over some of those dance moves they were playing.
Oh yeah, you totally could see that. It'd be awesome.
They were doing.
Well, it's the thing. You could get Real Big Fish, and they would just do a cover of an old song. It would sound badass, because that's what they do covers amazingly. So, what's the other weird thing that I was thinking is but going back to the oil tanker part when they're trying to escape there, and of course they got Nora. Batman's carrying her. Barbara's leading the way out of there, and they're getting to the point where like, oh, we can't go to the stairs. So like, let's get to the elevator, which is always like that thing. It's like, isn't the last thing you're supposed to do when there's a fire is get into an elevator? It's like, when does that ever pan out?
Yeah.
And it doesn't even really pan out in this. It's like, if it wasn't for Mr. Freeze, they would never have made it out of there in that elevator. It's like, well, Batman's really like, not helping kids out. It's like, well, when it gets to that point, use the elevator, kids. I know the sign says not to, but Batman knows better.
Oh my gosh.
I'll just punch the fire away with my pecs. Batman, I can do that.
Yes. He's the goddamn Batman.
Thank you. A lot of people get all like, that was such a horrible run. Like, I know that run is flawed, but I enjoy it. Like, when I first read it, I was a little more put off. But going back and reading All-Star Batman and Robin Boy Wonder, I'm like, you know what? I know it's not perfect, but it's a take, and it's still enjoyable.
Oh, it's just so much fun.
Hey, it's still Batman. But
yeah. I like it. My second read of that was like, I liked it much more. So I think it just kind of comes around.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just think it's also just like, that caused so much controversy. Like, are you dense? Are you retarded? I'm the goddamn Batman.
Right. That's pretty crazy.
Boy, you've just been drafted in a war.
He likes punching Robin in that. He really is. Like, he is just like this angry, brooding menace in that whole book.
Yeah. But isn't he always?
Yeah, well, that one especially, though. That one just punching boys. He's like, oh, good, his parents just died. Dobson time. Get the fuck over here. Get the fucking car. Leave it.
Just makes you wonder.
Should I wait for child services? Fuck them. They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Was Bruce Wayne just like flipping through like the obituaries, waiting for like a good enough orphan boy just to take in?
He was at the circus, and as soon as that kid's parents died, like, oh, game time.
No. I mean, before that though. Before that, was he like looking through? He's like, Alfred, none of these ones are good enough yet. None of these ones are good enough yet. It's like, sir, I think let's go to the circus. That always makes you feel happy. Yeah, circus. And he's in the back of the car just still chanting circus. Sir, would you please calm down that tomfoolery?
About to pick up Vicky Vale. Circus. Hello, Vicky. This goes back to me.
She's like, I'm on a date with Bruce Wayne. Alfred's like, yes, we know. We got it the first time.
You don't need to keep repeating. How cool is that? We know it is cool. Yeah, it is fucking cool. So we're going to circus. He's doing it again.
I think you guys have some really great material for Lego Batman 2.
Dude, I think Lego Batman 1, there's a couple moments in that movie that I feel like they sort of borrowed from our drunk Batman. There's just some things in there. Like, there's a part where he goes into like the prison or whatever, and he has to take out all this stuff out of his belt, and he's throwing all these things out, and he throws out a dolphin. And it's just kind of like one of those ones like, we had the inflatable dolphin in Drunk Batman. I mean, I know a dolphin's like, it's not like that's the only time you've ever seen a dolphin in life, but still, it's like, how many times have you seen Batman and a dolphin together in his belt, carrying it around?
Yeah, that was the one thing. Other things people said, oh, Justice League reunion party. I'm like, oh, that could be anything. But then then I saw the dolphin, and I was like, and I heard an interview. The guy watches Newgrounds. I'm like, kind of. I can't, that's the only thing in that movie made me go, maybe. I listened to the audio commentary, no dice, but whatever. I wasn't really expecting it anyway. And I'm not sitting up here like, yo, Warner Brothers, where's my 10 cents? But I'm at the same.
I just want to shout out in the audio commentary. That was all I was looking for.
I wasn't even expecting that, but if I was just waiting, there's this one silly drunk Batman thing we saw, but oh fuck!
Well, even if they did,
stop.
they wouldn't say
should.
it because they wouldn't be worth getting sued over.
That's a good point. I didn't think they would. Yeah.
You know what's interesting though? Of this Batman Sub-Zero though, they were supposed to make a third movie like in this style, and I'm not too sure if it meant this style as in the old animated series style. It probably would have been in the second, the fourth season kind. But there's supposed to be a movie just called like Batman Arkham, and it's supposed to be Batman and Robin go, and they have to stop the prisoners from breaking out Arkham. That kind of storyline.
Yeah.
But then they kind of like, oh, you know what? Let's just do this Batman Return of the Joker movie, which granted is an amazing movie.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I'm still kind of interested in what that Batman Arkham one would have been. I mean, I know we got Assault on Arkham nowadays, but that's more like a Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah.
Just happens to have Batman in it.
Well,
Yeah, that's true.
Well, we do live in this age now where people want to know what didn't get made, and they almost kind of want to know, like, well, what was that going to be? And something that did kind of start it is they started taking some of Kevin Smith's old scripts that were for movies that were never made and made them into comics. Like that's what happened to those Green Hornet scripts. I still like to see a Batman, his Superman scripts like that. So I could almost see them like enough people who like the original animated series follow the making of it pretty closely. So or like researched it since then. So I could definitely see them trying to almost, here's a comic and the Bruce Timm art style for the movie that never came out, or an episode or something. I remember I actually was fortunate enough to, when Paul Dini came out with his autobiographical book, Dark Knight, a true Batman story, he was doing a signing here in San Francisco, and I was lucky enough to go up there and shake his hand and get an autograph. And
that's awesome.
And I also got to ask him a couple of questions, and he said that episode he always wanted to make was Catwoman teams up with Black Canary. He said he always wanted to do an episode about that, but he's like, I couldn't do it though because it was Batman and it was the adventures of Batman, and they didn't even feature in the episode, and they had to be prominent the whole time. That's when they were really, Warner Brothers was really looming over them. He said when they were on Fox Kids, they could do more whatever they wanted, but mostly. But when they went over to like Kids WB, that's where they really like leaned over them with their arms crossed, like, no, can't do that.
Oh, that.
Yeah, I kind of got into it, and it's like that's kind of a bummer.
It is. It's unfortunate because he's so creative, Like we may have met the voice of Batman, but you kind of met the mind of Batman in a way.
I guess that's true. I guess that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. I guess I lucked out. I guess I lucked out on that aspect. So it's a give and take.
Right. Exactly.
And together we have the full Batman.
Exactly.
We just need a Ben Affleck. We just need a Ben Affleck body, and we have it all.
I called the left leg.
Yeah.
We're like Frankensteining a Batman together.
That'd be a great story.
Now I just need an autograph by, not to make the thing. One of us needs to get an autograph from my Bruce Timm.
All right. Yeah.
Or Alan Burnett.
Or George Clooney.
I'm just thinking animated series context.
It's just like the most random one, or George Clooney, why not?
Sure. Good.
Brandon, you read a lot of the comics, right?
Yeah, I dabble in the comics. Lately I have not been keeping up, but I try to, at least the main titles, you gotta read those. Like Killing Jokes and all those other great classics.
Taking it to Mr. Freeze here for a second. Did you ever read any of the Scott Snyder stuff?
No, are you talking like the serials or what?
The Scott Snyder, he was the guy. He's like one of the main Batman writers. He was on there for Batman New 52 when that started, and he kind of did the revamp. And he's no longer on the main Batman titles, but he was basically all the Batman books since the New 52 happened all the way to the end of before they did the thing. Now he's still in a few books here and there, and he does Batman All-Star, but he did kind of a controversial thing with Mr. Freeze. Did you read that by chance?
I don't think so. I may have heard about this, but you're gonna have to re-enlighten me here. What did he do?
He did. Now, keep in mind, I think he's one of my favorite comic book writers, and I'll read just about anything his name's on. But this is the one thing he did where I'm kind of like, Really, dude, really? He did this thing
Yeah.
with, and he was Mr. Freeze. If he did it with like someone else, it'd be like, okay. But Mr. Freeze,
Right.
like, not Mr. Freeze, please. He made it so it made it like a twist. It wasn't like just here this is. It was presented as a twist, and that is Mr. Freeze. Like his mother fell through the ice when he was a child. So and since then she was kind of just a little crazy and always in a wheelchair. And then one day he just like walks up and just like, I love you, Mom, bye, and just pushes her right into like the frozen lake, and she just sinks down as he just walks down looking at his mother sink. And then you also find out this whole time that he's trying to bring Nora back, and Bruce Wayne comes in like, what the fuck you doing? What the fuck you doing trying to bring this dead bitch back to life? Get the fuck out of here. No, I don't give a fuck it's your wife. Get the fuck out. And you find out that it really wasn't his wife. He was just crazy. And he's just like, she's so beautiful. I want to marry her. And she was this lady who was like stuck in cryo sleep for like 80 years that he was just infatuated with. So he was just going out of it, and he broke in there illegally and had this. And it was just one of those things. It turned him into a creepy, like, stalker.
And I want to say.
Yeah, I heard about the.
I also want to say they even put a scene in there too where like he was like torturing animals and things like that too. And I was.
They bred in a little bit.
Yeah, and I just remember it's like one of those ones because this is why I think I like Mr. Freeze. Is at the end of the day, he's not a bad guy, but he is one of those kind of guys. It's like he will, if somebody gets in the way between saving his wife, he will do something about it. He has no problem like stopping somebody trying to get in his way, but he doesn't go out of his way to do bad things. He doesn't. At the end of the day, he doesn't really want to do bad things. If everything just worked out and like someone could save his wife, he would be 100% fine, and he would never even worry about that. And that's how I kind of like picture Mr. Freeze. Is, some people don't need to be like villains. You know what I mean? Like the Joker's just pure evil. You know what I mean? He does bad things just because that's who he is. It's not maybe because he has any reason behind it. It's just that's what he does. You know what I mean? The Riddler, I feel like that's a character who like he's kind of messed up in a way where he just likes almost causing havoc. That's sort of who he is and so on. But Mr. Freeze though, it's like Penguin. Penguin's a mobster at the end of the day. But Mr. Freeze, on the other hand, he's not a bad guy. It's just shit kind of went in a bad way for him. And in that process, he had to do some shady things, but it was all, in a sense, for good intentions.
Yeah, exactly. That's why he's so tragic. And you can almost, feel for the guy.
Yeah. And it's weird. This one Scott Snyder, it's literally like, it's like a singular issue. It's no more than like, it's not even like a run in the comics or anything. It was like a back. I think on book 3 of New 52 Batman, it happened to be, or maybe book 4, one or the other. It's in like the very back, just one of those extra stories. But it was one of those ones where I just remember going like, God, for this guy who likes Batman and does everything else to like 100%, this is like that one story where it's like either he just doesn't get Mr. Freeze or he just really wanted to put some weird spin on it. But it was just like, not that character. Anybody, if you would have made the Riddler have that storyline, I would have been like, okay. I still think that would have been a little odd for that character. But okay, I'll buy that a little bit more.
Reading a lot of his other books, like American Vampire, I could totally see it being something kind of like he put elements of some other character he had locked in his head a while into Mr. Freeze, because it's not that's not an interesting concept. It's just it's Mr. Freeze. So it's like, and he's like one of the few like sympathetic Batman villains, because most of them aren't really that sympathetic. I mean, ironically, because they both share the same movie, but the only two that are really that sympathetic are like Freeze and Ivy. Yeah. Where I'll say Catwoman, she's not really even a villain by this point. Yeah. She's more of just kind of like a rival / frenemy,
Well, and Poison Ivy, I always feel like that technically is not a villain at all. She is like not even close to being a villain. She technically is probably a better person than even Batman at the end of the day. And it sounds weird saying that, but she's literally trying to save the planet. And you could almost even say like, well, Wayne does have factories and so on. So if you want to like put those two in like court from like between the earth and have fucking Jesus judge that, I don't know. Have Jesus and Thor judge it. And Buddha. We'll get like a nice council going on. And Allah can come join too. Why not? Like, let's just have everybody. So nobody's left out. Moses.
What if they all just bro down though? It's like, guys, look, check it out. It's Batman. Batman. They get the whole court shouting, chanting it.
And that's always kind of the sad thing is you ever realize that there's like no real like female like main deities that like are like the number one in someone's religion. There's like there's like other ones. I'm not saying there isn't, but like that, I mean like the head honcho. I mean when you think Norse, you either think probably Odin or Thor, and most likely Thor. When you think Christianity, you think Jesus and God. When you think like even Jewish. Like that religion, it's like, what are you thinking of? You're thinking like guys like Moses and things like that. And when you think, of course, Muslim, it's like Allah. You got Buddha, even Shiva. Like sometimes it's portrayed as a woman, but it's actually a dude, or it's confusing. But
if Christianity was a rock, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No. There's always Mother Mary or something.
I was gonna say, if Christianity was a rock band, Mother Mary would probably be like on bass.
Yeah.
Yep.
She'd be backup singing. They'd give her like some kind of female like role, like hey, she's a really good guitar player. Yeah, put her on backup. Maybe she could play keyboard. She could be like like Linda McCartney. She's sort of there, I mean, because she's part of the team, I guess. Well, whatever.
She'll pay for us to get here.
But I can't remember where that was leading us. Oh, yeah, Poison Ivy. I just say like Poison Ivy is a character because like I love that character a lot, and that is one of those ones like I see absolutely no evil in. I mean, obviously, yeah, some people might write a story where she does bad things, but at the end of the day, when you really think about where her actions are going, it's like, yeah, those are pretty good actions. You know what I mean? She's saving the planet. You know what I mean? Just maybe almost a little too hardcore, but she's saving the planet. God damn it! Fighting the good fight. I think it's just in the olden days, like probably when Poison Ivy was invented, it's like, it's like the dirty hippies coming in, so Batman can punch him in their face.
Yeah.
And it's a woman too, so she can punch them in the face too and keep them down. Same with Catwoman. I like. I was reading the very first Catwoman issue. It was like 1939 or 41, one or the other. And it was kind of funny because there was a part where it's like all she was doing, she was like robbing this ship or whatever and like stealing the diamonds. I didn't think she was almost even Catwoman yet. I think she was just Selena Kyle. I don't know. She might have had it. Like it was like super proto version of her, and stuff. And at the very end, Batman finds her and everything like that. It's just like, Mr. Batman, just let me go. I mean, it's just Jules. Like, whatever. It's not that big thing. And it goes to a picture of Batman with his hand up. He's like, be nice or Papa Spank.
Studio audience laugh track.
Yeah, right.
It's like, here's a Bill Finger, like, comic.
Oh, my gosh.
Just like Batman. Oh, you women, go get out of line. Doesn't your husband give you enough money?
Well, it's funny you mention that because in like the most recent like version of Batman, like him and Selena Kyle are dating again. They know he's Batman. She knows he's Catwoman or whatever. Or the other way around. Like she knows she's Batman. He knows she's Catwoman. They role reverse. They're doing a role play thing.
Yeah. They're into that.
I would watch that one if Bruce Wayne was like, okay, I guess I got to put on the cat tights tonight.
Let's just see what happens. Yeah. No, but there's a part where they're like laying in bed talking, and I want to say like there's what the first time they met. And there's been so many iterations of the comic by this point, so many different versions of the history. Batman, somewhat at the time they met in year one, and she's a hooker, and she's fine. Like, no, what are you talking about? It didn't happen like this. It happened like that. And they go back to something more classier, where she's a little bit more of an elegant, kind of old-timey Catwoman lady suit. And then he's like, what about this time where you try to steal the... They're just bringing different variations of the different timelines. They both remember it differently.
Huh. That's pretty funny. I still need to get to that one, and that's in my big fat stack of Batman that needs to be caught up.
It's pretty good.
Huh. I'll have to watch. Yeah, read that. It sounds pretty cool.
If they would stop just releasing 2 issues every single month, like crazy people.
Insane.
I know, it's like way too much. It's like the worst part too is DC was doing it for a while where like almost all their books had that. It was like Nightwing had 2 issues a month, Green Arrow had 2 issues a month, I think Flash had 2 issues a month. Whoa. And it was just like, whoa, calm back, like Jesus Christ. At least it wasn't as bad. There was a period like a year or 2 ago where they had this storyline called Batman and Robin Eternal, and it started as Batman Eternal. They did an issue every week. And it was a full issue, too.
That's pretty crazy.
I still got like 26 issues of like Batman and Robin Eternal. And it's not that the story's not good. And I got like a couple graphic novels of Batman and Robin, or just Batman Eternal, because I got them for like $4 on Amazon. It was just like one of those ones where it's like, whew, you just look at it, it's like, it's a huge stack of issues. It's like, they're good stories,
Yeah.
but I don't know. If that was the only Batman book that they were making and there was no side characters and no Detective Comics and no anything extra, that's fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you got all these other ones and Batgirls and Batwomans and so on, it's just like, no, calm down a bit.
Well, Marvel's getting, I think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brandon.
I was just saying, sometimes it can be a little too jam packed, but it's just it is good to have all these features, but it's like, when do you have time to read it all if you're working and you got to catch up on all this stuff.
Exactly. Plus, it's like, where does Batman find the time to do all this anyway, too?
That's true. That's the damn good stuff.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, the only thing I look at, it's like, it's good that gives more jobs for people to write and draw Batman. That's the best way to look at it, because if there's only like one Batman story, and yeah, it'd make it easier for like the fans to read, that'd mean there's only like one job available in a moment, So by that standard, okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And it's one of those ones, I even got like, because Justice League is coming out, I got like the sale thing on Comixology. It's like, oh, there's some Justice League books on sale. And I was like, I know I shouldn't flip through this because I have so many comics to read, but I guess I'll take a look anyways.
Yeah.
And it's like, ooh, they got on sale the one where Green Arrow kills, what's his name? I can't think
Deathstroke?
what it is, but like both those books. Not Deathstroke. No, the one where like everybody's like, oh, Green Arrow, how could you kill that poor son of a bitch? You know what I mean? Like, I know he's bad and all, and I know that he took Speedy's arm and his like daughter and everything, but like, you don't kill a man.
Not onomatopoeia, was it?
And they,
No,
like-
he's still alive.
No, that's Kevin Smith's. No, this one's like a Justice League. I almost want to say it's kind of a Jeff Johns one. I don't know if he's like the main writer on all of it, but kind of one of those ones. But yeah, so I was like, oh, that's on sale. That looks cool. And then there's one where it's like, there's like an alternate worlds one where it's like had just a bunch of random DC stories in there. And it's like, oh, there's like Old West Wonder Woman and all kinds of like different things. I'm like, that sounds cool. $6 for 400 and something pages. And you're like, that's a great deal. And then you kind of like, well, you know how long that's going to take to read too at the same time?
Yeah. That's why movies like Subzero are nice, because it's 67 minutes of pure Batman, and
Yeah.
then you're in and out pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's an easy, digestible story. Gets you everything you need. All the perils of Batman all wrapped into one. And yeah, this is one of those ones that it is one of those movies. Like, if I had to kind of like rate it out of all, let's just say animated Batman movies, I would definitely say it actually is pretty much up there. It is a really good.
Definitely
it
in the
is.
top 5. Sorry, go ahead, Brandon.
No,
Yeah,
that's yeah, exactly. At least top 5, because there are a lot of Batman animated movies out there, and some are better than others, But and also, do you count things like where it's the Dark Knight, Returns and all that stuff? Where they're adaptations of comics. Do you count those as, or Batman Year One? Are those animated movies to you, or do you only count like Red Hood and things like that?
No, I was counting even the adaptation ones like at the same time. I guess if you go by just like pure original Batman ones, then I guess you got Mask of the Phantasm, you got Subzero, you got Mystery of Batwoman, which that's a really good one too. That's a total like lost gem.
Oh yeah, it's a fun twisty story. You don't know what's going on until the end.
You got like the Batman and Harley Quinn one that just came out.
Yeah,
this
did you guys
year.
do a podcast on that yet?
Gosh, it's
Yeah,
weird.
we did.
Okay.
We did.
What did you guys think of that? I know we're still in the limelight from Sub-Zero, but it sort of ties in because it's supposed to be in this universe, isn't it?
It's still Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You go first. You go.
I'll let Ryan go first. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's one of those ones, like, I remember the first time I watched that movie, I was kind of like, this is, like, it's not bad, but it was a little bit weird. It almost reminded me kind of Marvel-like, where it was like, oh, they're almost having too much fun with it. Because that's always my problem with Marvel stuff. And it's funny, because everybody else out there talks about, they're like, oh, Marvel's so much better than DC! And it's just like, I always kind of watch Marvel stuff, and I like Marvel things, but sometimes at the end of the day, if they're movies, it's like, I kind of wish they took their stuff a little bit serious. It's kind of like the new Thor. It's like, even though don't get me wrong, I like this new Thor, but it is like joke central for like the first half of the movie. I mean, it's pretty much Thor the sitcom for a while, and it tones down a little bit, but You know, and there's still jokes even to the very end of it. And it was funny. I went back and I watched Thor 1, and I was looking at the time the whole time, and I was like, okay, I'm going to wait for the first joke, like the first real joke, not just like something that's like a light, like, yeah, not really meant to laugh. I mean, something that's full on, this is a joke. That doesn't happen until 31 minutes into the first Thor. It's just like, well, and I'll say this, if you minus out Kat Dennings' lines, which once again, there's only like, she probably has maybe 10 dumb lines in the whole movie. If you minus out hers, there's probably like barely even like 10 jokes in them. I probably would say there's probably like 5 jokes, and they're all mostly done by Thor. Like, you know, when he smashes the glass or something like that. There's so little comedy in that first Thor. That movie's almost like Batman serious at the end of the day. It was kind of funny. Like, I just kind of forgot that while watching it. And then you look at the Thor 3 and you're like, it's such a weird contrast almost. It was almost like, but then again, this is what I started wondering. Thor, the first one, is Paramount and Paramount only. And then, you know, as you get farther on, once they get in the hands of Disney, does that mouse start saying, like, no, put those fucking jokes in there. That's what gets the kids laughing. That's what gets the middle-aged folks laughing. You know, because middle-aged people, that's what pays the bills. Oh, Pop in Oklahoma, I tell you. So I just kind of start wondering, like, were they going from, like, seriousness? Like, I've started thinking about, I'm like, what was the first Disney Marvel movie? I know this is getting all off Batman, but it all started
First Disney Marvel? Well, I guess Avengers, I think, might be the first one that had produced by, I mean, it still had the Disney, it still had the Paramount logo on front of it, but I want to say it was a joint effort, yeah.
It was a joint. See, that makes sense because that's the first movie, and it's not, once again, not saying anything against them, but that's the first one where like comedy started being like, oh, they're going really jokey in these movies. And, you know, if you think about it, I mean, like, Iron Man was made in that style, but I think once they made Avengers, they just took that Iron Man style and then just slapped it on everybody else as well, too, and just made them all jokey. And I remember it's like, oh, that's kind of the first time they started just having more jokes. So maybe it's Disney's the one that kind of blew the jokes out of proportion. Now, obviously, Captain America 2 is under the Disney logo, and that one's a pretty serious movie compared to it. But that's why I kind of started thinking, I'm like, that's where the jokes came from. Paramount was the serious company, like a Fox, and then all of a sudden, Disney got their hands on it, and then it becomes like, you know, almost like Johnny Depp in like Pirates of the Caribbean 2, where it's like, hey, people found you really funny in that first one. Just start running around with your arms all flailed out and, you know, crack jokes left and right and put on more funny hats and so on. And once again, not saying that they're bad movies, but you notice the comedy. And coming all the way back to Batman, I noticed that kind of in the Harley Quinn one, is it felt like they were doing the thing where it's like, okay, there's, you know, you have a joke, like, you know, perfect example, Batman and Subzero. Like, Alfred's always got those, like, good, witty lines, and he has them throughout the show and everything like that. That's a perfect point, because Alfred can have that dry humor, and it doesn't feel like it takes away from the show or the mood or anything like that. But once you start having those kind of weird jokes, like in Batman and Harley Quinn, it has some weird ones like that. Like, I think the part where, like, Harley Quinn's farting in the car, like, that almost sounds, it's... Yeah, and then there's a couple parts, too. There's even, I mean, this part's kind of funny, but there's, like, where Booster Gold calls on the phone, and you know, Dick's trying to make all these like motions of like why he doesn't want him there, and then he makes a jerk off one. I mean, don't get me wrong, that one's kind of funny, but it's still at the same time it feels so out of place for like a Batman animated series thing. Yeah, like don't get me wrong, that's really funny. Like, but it's like, well, it's one's like, are we doing like Batman the sitcom, or is this Batman the animated series? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you know, take like the Batman 66 movie, not the one with Two-Face, but the one that they did beforehand, the Caped Crusaders Return. Like, that to me felt like a perfect place that you could put comedy in, and it was like, you kind of expected that, you know what I mean? And plus, when you saw the jokes that Adam West and Burt Ward were doing as these old men, that made it almost even funnier. It was like, oh, dude, this is perfect. They're having a great time with it, and that's what you want to see. But I guess when I saw Harley Quinn initially, I was expecting it to be animated series, and then when you see it's like, oh, it's different. And then I watched it a second time, and I will say I did enjoy it a little bit more the second time. It's still got some weird stuff in it, but I did enjoy it. What do you think, Brandon?
I did think it was fun, but it's just some of the humor was a little bit different than I was expecting, you know. So it was a little more juvenile humor with the fart jokes and stuff. And then I have a friend who is adamant that Nightwing would never sleep with Harley Quinn. We're going spoilers here, but he's like, yeah, he turned, you know, I don't know where exactly in the timeline it is, because I'm not sure if Joker has shot Barbara Gordon and turned her into Oracle yet, but you know, he's like, yeah, he would never sleep with the girlfriend of the Joker and stuff. But I don't know if that's happened in this universe yet.
That just reminds me of your friend just watched this movie like, no,
Yeah, he's
no,
like, no.
They're just like screaming at the TV like, no, why?
Yeah. He also had a huge issue with the Batman sleeping with Barbara Gordon in the Killing Joke film adaptation. I don't know if you remember.
I mean, that one was kind of weird too, just for the fact that like this is all I think about. I'm like, that's her that's like one of her father's best friends. That's what makes it weird to me. That's it's not necessarily the Batman part. It's literally the Commissioner Gordon, Bruce Wayne, Batman all being friends thing.
Yeah.
That's the weird part about it. And also too, going back to Batman Subzero, I like Barbara Gordon being with Dick Grayson. At the end of the day, I think that's the perfect person for him. I know that they always have, they all date around and, Barbara Gordon started sleeping with black guys and it made Dick feel awkward, but still. it got to that point though. It's like at the end of the day, it's like, don't get me wrong, I like Batwing, but at the end of the day, sorry, she's all about the dick. I'm just gonna say it. I don't mean just the dick in general, but the Dick Grayson that is.
All right.
And so like that's where I felt that was kind of weird. It's just like it would have been weirder too if like Nightwing would have showed up there and then he just would have been on the rooftop just standing there fucking like.
Yeah, that's been crazy.
And then nobody says anything. It just cuts to the Killing Joke story. Like that's just how it goes.
I was gonna say that I don't think the animated series involves Killing Joke because she's the commissioner in Batman Beyond and she still stands up and she's able to walk around.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
I think they removed that, but I think you're right. I don't think that Dick would fuck Harley Quinn because I'm just saying I'm not trying to look too deep into this, but
yeah,
she's fucked the Joker. God knows what the fuck happens there. You start laughing like halfway through, you just start laughing like like oh shit. He has his own STD.
Well, also I'll say this for Nightwing's behalf, he was raped.
That's true.
So,
that is true.
He was okay.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some rape that's apparently is like okay. It's like in the Clint Eastwood movie, High Plains Drifter, and that lady's just barraging him the whole time in the very beginning, telling him that he's like no good and everything like that. So what Clint Eastwood does is just drags her out to a barn, says you need to be taught a lesson, gives her a little bit of rape, and the next thing you know, she's all good. So sometimes rape can kind of make a nice turn.
Oh my God.
It's just fucking.
I'm just saying.
It was a different time.
There's
Right.
There's two proofs. I know it's a cartoon and a movie, but at the end of the day, I'm saying like when has film ever lied to us?
That's true. That's very true. Even in Subzero, did you guys ever see this moment? There's a when the film cuts to a shot of underneath a bed, and the bed's like creaking down. It's like, okay, are they really trying to make little kids think what I'm thinking they're trying to make them think? Like, what is that shot trying to what message is that sending? But then you realize you're just jumping on the bed.
Yeah.
But it's such a weird moment. Raped or what?
Well, I noticed that too. I forgot to write that down, but I'm glad you brought that up because I remember it's like the only reason you cut from a low shot of the bed and just heard the creaking and heard her jumping, or like heard her making sounds. Is you knew that was a joke. There was no way. You could have used any other shot in that room, and you chose that shot. It's like, that was totally an innuendo.
No way around that one.
Yeah.
It's just kind of...
I know, it's such a weird one, too.
It is a weird one. But that goes back to where it's not just for kids. There are moments in it for adults that would, where adults would be like, oh, I get what they're doing there. So...
Yeah. Because a kid would generally never, I don't know, I say this, but one of those kids be like, no, that's every night for me, is when they put me under the bed.
And he's dressed like Batman too for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he punches me and says I'm drafted to the war, and he's got nothing else but a cowl and a cape on. But yeah, no. Sometimes it's like those kind of weird things. I mean, I know like for as far as like a comic goes, and it's like it goes over time. It's like, well, you can't always have this, Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon together. You got to split. Well, you can, but for some reason they feel like they have the need, like, oh, you got to change it up for the drama factor. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's like also like an Arrow, like the TV show. It's like at some point everybody's going to sleep with everybody, and I think that's just how that show is going to be. Is it necessary? No, not. But for some reason, there's like a target audience out there. They're like, that audience needs to see everybody sleep with everybody. At some point, Diggle and Green Arrow are going to sleep with each other, and it's just going to be there, and it's going to be one of those nights, and no one's going to question it.
He's going to dig deep.
They're not going to talk about it afterwards. Yeah, exactly. Diggle dig deep.
But regarding the Dick Grayson and Barbara relationship there, I was gonna say that I think this movie does a good job of just making Barbara very likable. I'll say that they even make her like seem very. I think it's pretty forward thinking, because I know that they still had girl superheroes back then, even on like kids shows. But '90s, I don't think they had nearly as many. They're like as strong of female characters as Barbara around this time, and they even there's a part where
unless it's X-Men.
What? Yeah, X-Men.
Unless it's X-Men.
Batman, but beyond that, I can't think of like a whole lot. Maybe they were there, but nothing's really coming to mind for me so much. And there's that part where mixing my Robins here. Dick is coming in. He's just like, hey, he's kind of shy. Like, so I was wondering if you'd like to go to the coast and go to this jazz festival. And she's like, a jazz festival? Turns around so the camera can see, and she's like kind of very like, oh shit, yeah, he likes me. He's like, I don't know, oh shit, and then she turns back around like, why not? Okay, I got time for it.
Yeah.
I still wish it was now I just wish it was the Real Big Fish festival. I don't know why. I just.
Oh my gosh.
Or Lester, it's like, you like Real Big Fish? Yeah, well. Goldfinger's opening for him.
Yeah.
I know I never knocked on wood.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be awesome. But yeah, I guess I lost train of thought there. I'm not too sure where I'm at. Something about them dating together. All right, but, well, yeah, it's like at the same time, because this is how I feel with a lot of cartoon shows. This is how the female character always was. And I don't think this is like a bad one. Somebody probably point this out like, oh, that's not a strong character. I'm like, no, I still think this is strong, but the female characters just always be kind of like the token female character. And I felt they always fell in the April O'Neil kind of category, where here's your 4 cool dudes with powers and, so on. And then here's their kind of woman that kind of helps them out and makes them like fit in to like society. And that's the same with like Gargoyles has that too. It's like, oh, here's all your gargoyle bros, and then here's your the police officer lady. She kind of like lets them know how like society works and so on. And I was gonna say, does the Sewer Sharks have that too? I can't remember. I'm trying to think.
They had, what? I think I want to say Sewer Sharks did have that. She wasn't as memorable. She wasn't as memorable as April O'Neil, and they also had like some like '90s kid hacker with like Oakley wraparound sunglasses, like, whoa, bro, we got sharks here. I'm a hacker.
Yeah.
All right. I will say, actually, what show did The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest? And that technically she comes originally from the movie before that, but Jessie. She is a strong female character, I think. But once again, I guess you could say that's the token female character, because other than that, though, it's just like bro party. Even the dog's a boy. You know what I mean? Really, that's almost a show. It's like, oh, who's gonna date Jesse, Haji or Johnny, or Race? Yeah, you never really know. Wait, that's his daughter now. Forgot about that. I was thinking that was somebody else's daughter.
For a minute there.
It's just what. I know, I forgot, and I was like, wait a second, I gotta correct that. That'd be like the time that Kevin Smith and Andy McElfresh went off talking about, like, Inspector Gadget and, like, what's her name? Penny, like, dating. It's like, that's his niece.
Well, hey, I just asked Jerry Lee Lewis. Well, that was his cousin, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you guys know if Subzero was drawn on black paper, just like the animated series was?
That's actually, they did that. I heard they stopped doing that after a while, just because they heard that a lot of the artists were actually getting sick while making it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I hear they still did that with like concept art, but as far as like, because what they would do for at least the first couple episodes, I want to say, because it was originally illustrated in Japan, and by this point, I think it was South Korea. I want to say that they actually literally are putting on gas masks, which is wrong because the paper would make them sick. And or the materials they had to use to draw on and do all the artwork. So eventually they just kind of backed out of that, and they said, okay, well, we'll still do all the concept art on that, but here is how. Yeah.
Wow, that's okay. So you learn something new every day. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Well, I also want to say that it was only the backgrounds that were done on the black stuff. It wasn't the characters and the models and so on. But I could be wrong there too.
Yeah. I'm just going off an interview I heard 5 years plus by this point.
Yeah. That's crazy. But yeah, Subzero was able to, in terms of even animation, they did some really cool shots where, it pans from character to character, or, and I don't think it's all CGI either. I think sometimes it is actually drawn that way, which is really great. Just even Batman and Robin in the cockpit of the Batwing, there's some cool stuff going on. So I think it was drawn very well too, just to keeping in style with that classic look.
Well, I think also too, since it was a movie, they almost that allows them to be a little bit more experimental, where they can take a little bit more risk that they couldn't maybe take in a regular episode because you didn't want to break that continuity. And I think almost in that kind of period, you're able to try some things that you're like, this probably would be really cool, but let's just give it a go in a movie. And I think that's why we get some of these really neat shots in this movie and some cool lighting effects. And because even when there is CG, the nice thing about it though is the CG is just partial. It's maybe a car CG, but still Dick Grayson, or let's say the motorcycle might be CG at one moment, but Dick Grayson still hand drawn.
Right.
So that's what's kind of neat. It's it's a good combo. It's not a full CG,
Yeah, that's true.
Watching this again, it kind of made me realize how little detective work Batman actually does in all the live action movies. Maybe a little bit. I bumped shoulders with this guy and got some prints off him. Looks like he used to work with this guy. Looks like works with this company. I'm gonna go interrogate him tonight. And there's a little bit of detective work in those movies. Maybe a little bit more in Batman Begins and Dark Knight. But thinking back, those movies don't have a whole lot. And they just show them at the back computer. Plug this in. Oh, okay. I noticed in this movie, as well as the animated series, they do a much better job of actually telling a real detective story, because just the way they're breaking down of how they find that crooked doctor, and just the whole, the voicemail thing would be a little harder to pull off this day and age with the tape, but still, for the time and other things that were going on in that, just the things they pieced together and the way they got there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's why Raish calls him detective, Raish Al Ghul.
He actually lives up to it. He doesn't call him detective when Batman Begins. He's well, you're barely doing any detective work, so I'm just going to call you Bruce.
Right, yeah.
No, that's totally true. And it's one of those ones have you seen Mystery of Batwoman?
This movie's only an hour. No, I actually haven't seen that one, no.
Brandon, have you seen Mystery of Batwoman?
Yeah, I own that one too.
Well, see, since Ryan hasn't seen that one, that might be a fun one to do later down the line, so we won't go into any spoils there. But that movie's got really good detective stuff in it. That's what I like about that movie. It really makes you think the whole time through, on what this mystery is going to be. But yeah, that one's really good. It's one of those ones, if you can run across that one, Ryan, grab that one, and we should do an episode on it, because I kid you not, it is a really good movie.
Yeah.
And it's in this same style. Well, I think it's in the secondary style, technically. But
it's still Bruce Timm. Yeah. Which I'll say, thinking back, we're talking about the detective aspect of it, which the animated series always nailed down. And I'm just thinking about, because the two different people that go and ask. They ask the doctor lady, who's that doctor's kind of a jerk, just kind of comes in whenever he wants. And then there was the stockbroker. I'm just imagining, what if they just switched those two different approaches? How much more awkward that whole bit would have been. Excuse me, Mr. Stockbroker, can you tell me about one of your employees? Oh yeah, sure, this and that. And they go to the lady, where's the fucking doctor?
She just on her bed in the middle of the night, just fist up to her face.
Oh my gosh.
They didn't know that stockbroker was involved in a bunch of illegal shit. They could have just knocked on his door yo, wake up, Batman. We got some shit to talk about.
Didn't you think that stockbroker looked a little too much like Alfred, too? I was thinking that.
Ran out of character designs, huh?
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt when I saw
Make
it.
his
I'm like,
mustache a
okay,
little thicker. Remove the glasses. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just do something. Like, he looked a little too close. I was like Alfred's like cousin or something.
Sir, can you please not terrorize my cousin? He worked so hard to get out of the butler business.
Like I said, the butt business.
Butt
like, oh, what
business.
was he? Well, he was a butt model for years.
This guy's like, he's like a bunch of Calvin Klein ads or just some ass.
just
jeans.
like walking the stage, just like popping his ass out left and right, like ooh. Just picture like Alfred just doing that, but that's his cousin that happens to look the same. Like, why the cousins look the same, I don't know, but
Was that part of Batman and Robin, the live action movie too? Alfred having some cousin or something, or
yeah, there was.
like he's Uncle Alfred.
Because Alfred had a family.
Or something. Yeah.
Batgirl was his niece in Batman and Robin.
Yeah, I remember growing up when that came out. I was a little bit younger. I was like, "That's not how it's supposed to be. She's supposed to be Commissioner Gordon's daughter." You know.
This is what I always say though, is like if you take a look at those 4 movies, here's the thing. Who's a bigger character, Alfred or Commissioner Gordon? Because like Commissioner Gordon is like he's only like in like he has like one scene maybe in Batman and Robin, but he's always there. He's always like, "Oh, Batman!" And he's always like super overweight and stuff. He's like, "Oh, the bat signal's on, the Joker's out, Catwoman's out, the Penguin's here." It's just like that's all he really does in every single one. Even in like Batman and Robin, he's like. Like Poison Ivy comes up to him and like just sprays him or whatever. He's like, "Oh!" Yeah. So that guy was just so fumbly and
right.
You know, like I feel like I know it's against continuity, but I actually don't mind like that him being or Batgirl being related to Alfred. I actually feel like that actually works really well for the story.
Yeah, it's its own Elseworlds thing, and it's not horrible. I just remember younger me did not like that very much, but you know. Nowadays, I can see why they did it. You're right, because Michael Gough as Alfred is fantastic, and it does make it a little bit more interesting to watch in that universe anyway.
Yeah. Plus, also, it's one of those things like they never really developed much of a relationship with Commissioner Gordon in those original movies. So I think it would have just been awkward. Like, I thought that was Captain Crunch. Oh, his daughter comes in. And he's playing a part. All right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, that's totally true. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, it's like I kind of come to conclusions, but maybe it's even like the older I get, that Alfred really is just like one of my favorite characters, and it doesn't really matter what interpretation it is. Like, dude, they nail Alfred every time. Animated series, that Alfred's fantastic. I love the dry, witty humor he's got. Even in like Batman 1, 2, 3, and 4, the movies, like that Alfred. Great. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you love that Alfred. He's just the lovable Alfred. You know, you get into, like, the Christopher Nolan ones. Amazing Alfred. And especially even now with the Ben Affleck ones, super fantastic. Gotham. I think that's the best character in Gotham is Alfred.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's like, dude, I could watch a show where it's just Alfred running around town punching
Beware
people
the Batman.
Like, that to me is... Yeah, Beware the Batman. They got Alfred's... It's like, that's what I mean. It's like, I think Alfred's kind of coming along from just being, like, sort of the butler taking care of this boy, who's dressing up as a Batman, to almost like I like it too, like when they start giving like all the little things they added to Alfred, like at first he was like a field medic, they kind of added that into there, and then I like now that they start adding in that he's pretty much was like 007, because I think that makes a lot more sense. Obviously if this guy is like sort of training Batman like his original mentor, I like the idea that that's his first kind of like master is Alfred. In the Batman universe, how does Batman get to his start? He gets trained by Alfred, and who's Alfred? He's 007. He's like 005 or something like that. I hope that might be the one who's like a clown that gets killed. But I'm not too sure.
That's true. Yeah, Alfred's fantastic.
Oh, every once in a while, there's always like those 007 movies where they show like the other 00 person, and it's just like, oh, there's that one getting off.
Yeah, that's usually how that works. But yeah, Alfred was sort of like the start of all of his training, wasn't he?
He was the first one to kind of...
Yeah, I think it just kind of... Oh, I was going to say, I think that just kind of like, as time went on, it was like people kind of put that together, like, God, let's just make this guy more of his trainer. I mean, like, obviously he was always a mentor, not saying like he wasn't, but like, yeah, like maybe he was the guy who trained Batman how to fight at first, and maybe he was the guy who started getting him involved more and more in these things, and then like only like later on, like a good martial arts movie, you train with your master, and then you get to like the age of like 20 or so, and then you go off like Ryu, and you start traveling the world, finding all kinds of other other senseis and masters to kind of learn and get this eclectic martial arts built in. And that's how I kind of feel. Like, I picture Batman, like, he goes off, he trains with Zatara, and he teaches them all like almost like the illusions of magic and how to help him like hide and disappear and all that kind of stuff. He goes and he trains with, you could use, if you want, the Batman Begins thing. He trains with Ra's al Ghul if you want to use that kind of thing. I mean, you could go like to anyone that you want. You pick your own kind of people, like who he trains with in his youth, and that's who kind of builds him up after he's trained with Alfred.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And in this Sub-Zero movie, we still get the classic Alfred that you see in Mask of the Phantasm and the entirety of the animated series. So he's still right there. And I guess Commissioner Gordon makes sneak appearances here and there, but I think we get a little bit more Alfred in Sub-Zero. And it's just great to see the three of them. He and Batman and Robin kind of have these little, I don't know, detective work squabbles together. I don't know. It's just kind of fun to see them work together.
Mm-hmm. No, this is definitely one of the best animated movies. It's been a while since I watched it. I watched it, I knew it was good, but I forgot how good it was. So makes me want to actually go out and buy it because I just rented it right off PlayStation. So.
Oh, nice. Mm. You mean you don't have the cool?
Yeah. I don't have the cool.
Yours in widescreen
with the very official Warner Brothers plastic clip that comes over.
Yeah. Clip. Can you hear that? I don't know if you can hear it.
That's legit.
Yeah.
That's the shit.
Yeah.
Got the Cliffy clip. But was yours in widescreen, just out of curiosity?
No, mine was in full screen.
Ryan?
Maybe that's the only way it comes.
So okay. Well, I think we've come to the conclusion that this movie's in full screen. I'm glad we got that out of the way.
Tell it definitively.
But no, overall, yeah. You know what's the only thing that's kind of weird, though? Is since this movie was supposed to be kind of like a promotional tie-in movie with Batman and Robin, I'm actually kind of surprised they don't have Poison Ivy in it. Just out of curiosity. I mean, there's probably not enough time for it, but, they got Batgirl, they got, Robin, they got Batman, they got Mr. Freeze, they got almost all of them. I mean, I guess you could say Bane, too, by that standard, but really, I think that what they're selling it off of is Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze. Bane was like the bonus character. I am kind of surprised. Now, I don't know how she would fit. You'd have to have a completely different story if she
this was also originally meant to be a theatrical movie, which makes me believe it probably would have been at least 20 minutes longer. So who knows what else they would have fitted in there at that time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, it might have been. Probably not. Maybe 20 minutes. Probably only about maybe a little over 10 minutes longer. They probably would just put just enough, because mostly it seems animated movies
because
are
this
always
is like
a tad
57
bit under
minutes
an
or
hour
so,
and a half.
like, give or take,
they're at that
67, but
it's a little bit more than that, because it's like an hour and 6 minutes, so it's like 66 or so. Because I think you have to be 60 or 65 minutes to be considered a feature film. Maybe. I could be wrong there. For some reason, it might be actually almost a little bit less than that. But that's why, if you go back in time, like a long time ago, like in the 30s and 40s, there's a lot of movies that are only they're 67 minutes long. And like nowadays, you go, a live action movie 67 minutes long? It's just one of those ones that just made the cusp. But then again, you got people like, we'll make a 3.5 hour long movie. Why? Because we can.
I saw a movie that was under an hour and 20 minutes this day and age. They went to theaters.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, a lot of animated movies I
animated?
still think are at least an hour and a half. Batman, like the Lego Batman was at least I think that was 2 hours and 5 minutes. I want to say Zootopia was like an hour and a half or something like that, hour and 20 maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not going to watch that fucking bullshit. I don't know. I had to take my nephew to the first one.
I'm not saying did you see it, but I'm saying what do you think that movie was? I bet you that movie was under an hour and a half.
The first one I took my nephew to, it felt like 3 hours, but maybe it was in the...
Did you just have that moment, almost like Pokemon the first movie, as an adult watching it? You're just like, what is this scene? Why are they all talking to each other? They're on this vacation somewhere in Pikachu's land and everything like that, and there's no humans and no English, and then all of a sudden it kind of fades out. You're like, oh, thank Christ, I'm glad that was over. That felt like 3 hours. I know it probably wasn't that long, but it's like, oh no, that was just the beginning part. They're starting another movie.
I could tell what was going on. I mean, I think taking an adult to Pokemon when that was in its heyday, and just take a pair like, come on, let's go watch the Digimon movie or the Pokemon movie, and just hearing all these like, why the fuck are they saying their names? Why are they fighting? Where are they It would be so much more confusing. It was just a bad, just by the numbers movie. So, and at some point they just had Gangnam Style, a bunch of fuzzy animals playing Gangnam Style. I remember just sitting in the theater and just saying like, all right, someone look at my nephew like, all right, dude, we gotta go. And then like we're sitting in the front row, and a bunch of like little moms, their little daughters and kids, or the kids are all like dancing and waddling in place, clapping to the song in circles. And I just had like this 2001 Space Odyssey, like it's too much to comprehend. Like just like lights going down my eyes. I'm like, we gotta go. Like I like this song. I'm like, we're not one of them.
You're like just dragging him out. He's like, no.
He wasn't screaming. He was like, we gotta go. Just all these moms, their kids, like, oh, dance, sweetie, dance. Like, their fucking phones out. Just like
throwing popcorn at him.
So, yeah, Batman and Subzero.
But,
I think this would be probably maybe another 10 more minutes, maybe 15, 20 minutes to probably go to the theaters.
Yeah, it doesn't really need that. But I look at it this way, like, a lot of the DCU movies are all about that 70-minute, 80-minute mark, give or take. So, I mean, this one's a little bit shorter than like some of the other ones. You can tell that they probably cut back a little bit, because, they probably had maybe a slightly bigger story. Even though it's weird because you watch this movie and it feels like a feature-length movie. Like, I don't watch it and go, oh, that felt like a little over an hour. It just happens to be when I look at the time frame. It's like, oh, that's all it is?
Mm-hmm. Well, it goes by quickly, that's for sure.
And I think animation, you can sort of tell more story in less time than you can in live action. Because, have you ever noticed that you watch like an hour and a half like animation movie, and it felt like you almost had if you did it in live action, it for some reason would take 2.5 hours to tell, or even like 2+ hours. I don't know why that is, but...
Yeah.
Perfect example is you look at like the 2 Wonder Woman movies. There's the Wonder Woman animated movie, and then there's the Wonder Woman live action movie. And the live action movie's like probably 2 hours and 20 minutes. The Wonder Woman movie's probably the animated one's like an hour and 20. I feel like there's way more stuff that happens in the animated movie than there is in like the live action movie. Like at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't see the animated one, but
it's really good. It's like one of the best DCU ones. Cool. I kid you not. I remember when I first saw it, I told Ryan, I'm like, dude, it's like almost better than Batman good. Like, that's how good this thing is.
Wow.
It's like up to that part.
I might have to check it out.
It's really
good. Yeah. It's really good.
And also, the Green Lantern one's really good, too, if you haven't seen that.
No, not the new one.
There's two Green... There's actually technically 2 Green Lanterns. Or 2 animated ones. There's Green Lantern First Flight and Green Lantern Emerald Knights. They're both really good, but First Flight's, like, amazing.
Oh, sweet. Oh, I know I'm going to have to go scrounging for those now.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Fall down the DCU rabbit hole. Like, I've literally made it, like, I got to the point where I've bought every single DCU movie there is. It's like, it took a while, but, like, I got every single one. Like, I gotta catch 'em all philosophy. That 90s mentality doesn't leave.
Well, they just recently came out with, like, a 10-year anniversary with 30 movies on it.
Of DCU stuff?
On Blu-ray. All the DCU stuff for anyone. Well, we already have like I already have like 90% of them. You have all of them. So for anyone who only has like maybe 1 or 2, they just released a Blu-ray with all of like from basically Superman Doomsday to now.
Oh, that's sweet.
Oh, that's cool.
Dude, Brandon, that might be the one. Well, because how many do you have? Do you just have some of the Batman ones more than anything?
Yeah, most of the Batman ones. I do have some of there's like Justice League War part of that, or is that totally different?
Justice League War is part of that.
Yeah, I do have that and a couple of the other ones, but I don't have them all, that's for sure.
The only real Bruce Timm one that's on there would be like Gods of Monsters and the Harley Quinn one.
Okay, all right. Do you know if they does that also include? I already own this one. I don't know why I'm asking, but the Gotham Knight, like it's supposed to be like the Dark Knight kind of animated continuance thing. Have you heard about this? You know what I'm talking about?
Kind of loosely. Like I heard it's meant to be kind of like they were advertising it, like here's what takes place between Batman Begins and Dark Knight. Then I listened to the audio commentary. You're like, it could not.
You're right. Yeah,
I don't know. Kevin Conroy, what do you think of this? Oh, it's weird seeing an animation. Yeah, it is kind of weird seeing like in the anime style. It's but yeah. That Gotham Knight is like the one where I'm kind of like meh on.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely interesting. Some of the shots almost to me makes him look like Michael Keaton as Batman. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Not all the shots, but some of them. I was like, that's kind of cool, but it's not one of my favorites. But it's not I guess it's not the worst.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, it's not bad, but it's not the greatest. Okay, that 30 movie collection, it's not a bad deal, but it's $200.
Yeah.
How many movies in there?
For what you're getting, it's not bad because you get 30 movies, but yeah, $200 though that is still a pretty sweet collection. If you just didn't have any of them, like that'd be pretty sweet. It sounds like for you'd probably be better off just cherry picking them, because the upside of those DCU movies is you can kind of pick them up used on Amazon for kind of cheap. And I bought lots of mine sometimes too. I'd pick them up like just kind of big Blu-ray and DVD stores, and you can find them for like $5 used sometimes because they don't hold their value super well. But so here we go. Here's the list. It fits well for our podcast. Why not? You get Superman Doomsday. You get Justice League New Frontier. You get the Wonder Woman movie. You get Green Lantern First Flight. You get Batman Under the Red Hood. Superman Batman Apocalypse. Batman Year One. Justice League Doom. Dark Knight Returns. Superman Unbound. Flashpoint Paradox. Justice League War. Son of Batman. Batman Assault on Arkham. Justice League Throne of Atlantis. Batman and Robin, Justice League Gods and Monsters, Batman Bad Blood, Justice League Teen Titans, Killing Joke, Justice League Dark, The Judas Contract, and Harley Quinn. And it says plus 6 more, which I don't know what that means.
Superman Public Enemies. I didn't hear that. This Public Enemies.
Did I not say that?
I heard Apocalypse.
Oh, I guess
maybe it's on there though.
Yeah, that's right. I don't see that one on there. And this would be the other thing, is I wonder if it has all the special features, because that's almost like one of the best parts about them. It's got brand new special features, so they're trying to get us who already have them to come back and buy them. It comes with the shorts in there. Maybe that might be what they're kind of talking about too. The shorts are pretty good. There's the one disc that is called Superman Shazam, and it's got like 6 little shorts in there, or 5 shorts. That's really good. That might be what the 6+ is. It might be like kind of some of those ones. I don't know why they don't just name them all off on there. Where's that good Amazon fan that's gonna put down the thing where it says every single one of them? I don't know why I'm checking this. Like I'm questioning. Like I'm guessing those 6 other ones, because I don't think I mentioned. Did I mention the one we were just talking about? The Batman
Gotham Knight,
the Dark Knight one. Gotham Knight. I didn't see that on the list. So that might be one of them.
6 others, yeah.
Oh, and it comes with a big collectible book. Comes with it says over 20 hours of special features, so that must be all the old stuff plus 2 hours of new content.
Nice.
That is pretty sick though. It's one of those ones, like if you didn't own any of these or you barely owned them, this would be a pretty sweet set to have. Not gonna lie. Perfect Christmas present for anybody out there. You know what? Such a good Christmas present that if you want to help support Old Man Orange podcast in a real easy way of only spending $200 on Amazon, nothing extra, I will put a little link in on this episode because I think this is the perfect place for this. You know what I mean? I'll have the link for Superman or Subzero Batman, but also this DC Anniversary Collection is something of itself. You know what I mean? It is 32 discs of all around awesome that you need to have if you don't have it. Come on. It's DCU. It's the best movies they've made in the last 10 years out of any movie studio out there. I say hands down. Come on. Like some of these are the best films I have ever seen.
That's for sure.
That's my spiel.
It froze for a second for me, so I was just gonna stand there, just wait, look at everybody, just like, you looking at me to say something, or just froze? Good deal. I agree.
That's probably what happened.
Really? You think Nazis are awesome? Wait, what? No,
Whoa, wait a minute here.
I want to say that.
Oh. But also, they said Nutty by Nature was recommended on the related videos on there. They're like, because Ryan really likes it, so.
I forgot about that fucking band. Yeah. Oh.
No, that's the Nut Job 2 movie.
I was thinking the early '90s, like like hip hop R&B band. We should probably have this.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah. But this is probably a good place to wrap it up because plus it's getting late for
sure
you,
have.
Brandon. There,
But, hey, you know, for you guys,
you
it's
breached
worth
the
it.
midnight hour.
Oh, you took your time, man. We're so glad to have you on. We'd like to get you on again sometime.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, there's more Batman out there, and
Justice League's coming up, so.
And Justice League is coming up here in a few days. Well, this Thursday I might catch it a little bit early, so yeah, I'm excited for it.
For that.
And I'm really glad they brought Danny Elfman back, huh? Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really exciting. Yeah, we have a whole podcast to talk about.
Yeah, so we got all kinds of stuff. I know we got Justice League. And then also too, it'd be fun to go down because pretty much like the entire like 5 years or so we've done this podcast, pretty much if there was a DCU movie that came out, we pretty much have covered it. But there is some of those movies that came out prior to our show that's like, well, like Justice League New Frontier, we could go back and do an episode on that.
Yeah.
Doomsday, you know, Batman, Mystery of Batwoman, you know, there is like all these ones that it'd be kind of fun to do little retrospects on and go back in time, rewatch, and, you know, talk all about it, have some good times, remember what it was. We got the 30th anniversary, or not the 30th, the 10th anniversary collection. You can see them all on 36 discs. It'll be amazing. Like, it's the best thing you can have. But yeah, thanks again, Brandon, for coming on and talking all things Batman and more. Awesome. But make sure to check out oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, cartoons, music, and more. Check out Pizza Boys, Boys with a Z comic on Comixology and Amazon. And make sure to make sure to listen to Arnold Radio News. And see. Yeah, no, maybe you can see them. I'm not too sure.
Latest Arnold news. So
yep.
There's some for the eyeballs there.
So there's all kinds of fun stuff there, and there's always good material on both those places.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan.
So make sure you check all that
Brandon
out.
Krum.
Until then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
Thanks, folks. Later.
Our special guest, and we will see you some other time.
Again, Brandon, thanks for coming on the show. It was great having you. It's always a good time whenever you guys come on the show.
Yeah, I know. I think our energies mesh well, so I feel like we should all hang out in person sometime. I wish I was over in Cali.
I know.
Nice, but
and I got to go hang out with Randy Jennings and go see Terminator 2. So I'm getting closer.
Yes. Yeah. You'll do it.
Now you just gotta see. Now you just met Randy. Now you just gotta meet. You guys gotta meet Ryan and Brandon now.
I know.
Exactly.
My goal was to go meet Ryan if I go to the Arnold Classic. That's still kind of a toss-up at the moment. I know it's getting closer and closer, but it's like, okay.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that kind of like, everything about that trip is cheap except for the airplane tickets. It's like, God, those airplane tickets just weren't like, it's like, because whenever you're going to those kind of, if I went to New York, I could go there for like literally like a third the price. But since I'm going out to Ohio, it's like, God, it's like almost like $800 per ticket. It's like, jeez.
That's pretty crazy.
Wow.
I know. I'm like almost like, guys, might as well drive. I mean, I know that's going to take like an extra couple days, but still.
By that point, yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so it's one of those ones. At some point, we will all like merge and finally meet somewhere in the future.
That'd be cool.
But till then,
you're in Florida, right?
Yeah, I'm in Florida right now, so it's beautiful sun shining all the time.
Yeah.
So I guess California, parts of it are kind of like that.
Yeah, down south, but yeah.
I heard someone say like one time, like, reason I think people from California don't like to go to Florida is they already have their own Disneyland. I was like, what? Like, that's an interesting theory. Like, that's the reason they never went to Florida. Like, well, we already have Disneyland here. I'm like, there's more Florida than that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
it's like
plenty more, but
Florida's always like the one-upper theme parks. It's like everything in Florida seems to be just like, oh, you got that ride at Disneyland? Well, guess what we got at Disney World? Or you got that ride at Universal Studios? Well, guess what we got at Universal, what they call it there? Is it Universal World? What? No, they don't.
Islands Adventures.
I think it's Universal Orlando. I
Or
think.
maybe, yeah, that's what they call
Yeah.
it. But everything just seems better in Florida as far as theme parks go, which makes me kind of wonder. It's like, does California just have all these weird tax codes that prevents them from having this, where Florida's just
That's
like free
possible.
reign?
I would imagine so.
Well, Florida's like, well, yeah, because we use Cuban slave labor to make it all possible. What, you didn't know that was Florida's dirty secret? What, you never saw Scarface? What do you think happened to him after the 80s?
Yeah, that's true. They gotta go somewhere. Building Disney.
Or there's the Robot Chicken like sketch where it's like the reanimated head of Walt Disney goes on a robot. He's like, he loves the flesh of Cuban children.
What if they got to the point where you just like you're at like Disneyland, Florida, or Disney World, and all of a sudden you see this guy, you're like, that guy looks like a spitting image of Tony Montana, and then it's like you realize later it's like, oh my god, it is Tony Montana. That's what happened to him. He didn't actually die. He's just working at Disney World now.
What you want? You want the Goofy mask? You want the Mickey mask? You gotta tell me, man. Talking to you.
That's good.
Oh, that'd be pretty sweet. Well, Brandon, we gotta do this again sooner than later.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. Let me know if you're up for it. I'm always down. So we find the right topic. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, exactly. We might just have to find a better way of communication than Twitter. Twitter feels like it's like almost like sending like an actual message out, like in the post office.
Yeah.
No.
But other than that, though, I think I can't wait to do more.
Probably pick like another like old like DC movie we haven't done yet.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, there's still a lot left, so that's kind of the cool part.
Plethora, which is pretty awesome. So I appreciate you guys having me here, but I'm gonna hit the hay because it's getting late and I gotta get up early. But it's been a lot of fun, and I'm sure I'll be seeing you guys later. All right.
Sounds
Good
good,
seeing you,
Brandon.
man.
We'll
Take
talk to you in a
care.
bit.
Peace. Sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Old Man Orange podcast. Check out our website at oldmanorange.com for even more podcasts, cartoons, videos, music, and more. Send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review us on iTunes, Podomatic, or any of the other fine sites we might be located on. And if you want to help out even more, click on the Amazon or GameStop links on our webpage before you make any purchases there. Won't cost you a penny, but it sends us a little something our way. Thanks for listening, and tune in next week to Old Man Orange.